This episode of Modern Rogue brought to you by Ladder. Head on over to ladderlife.com/rogue, R-O-G-U-E. Make sure to spell it right. Keep us in business and take care of the people you love. This is one of those rare moments where we get to grant a wish everybody's had, and yet the answer's gonna be even more interesting than the wish that they were asking for. Everybody's been asking us for an understanding gin arc, because gin to me is mysterious pine needle juice. And then we found out that you guys here at Still Austin are a whiskey distillery that makes gin. I suppose I should introduce you. Everybody, this is Chris Seals, founder of Still Austin.
One of the co-founders, and I'm currently the CEO.
Okay, explain to me, before we dive in and see the process, it sounded to me like there's a bit of a natural overlap between the world of whiskey and the world of gin. Never would have thought that in a million years.
Yeah, when we first started, our dream was really to be a whiskey distillery, but it takes a while for your whiskey to age. And so
That's why everybody's doing blends, right?
A lot of people do blends. We didn't really want to do a blend. We wanted to do just kind of wait until our whiskey was really ready. So in the meantime, we had plenty of downtime to kind of play around. And one of our distillers had a dream of creating a gin that whiskey lovers would enjoy. The start of it is the same. You start with a spirit, we make our own spirit, and then we pick botanicals that really match that spirit. Our spirit is made from rye, so it's got a little bit of a rye flavor to it.
We learned the fundamentals of how whiskey's made, and we've seen how our friends over at the Crowded Barrel are doing their blends and their aging. Maybe you could explain to me the whiskey side and then dive in, and then you can explain all of the gin stuff.
Yeah, let's go on inside.
All right, you got it. I assume, based on the color and the packaging, that this is the gin part of the operation, right?
Yeah, this is it.
Wait, this is the entire gin part of the operation?
Not the entire operation.
Okay.
We first have a part where we make the base of the gin, and then once we've made the base, this is really where we infuse the botanicals.
Okay, well, show me whatever the biggest part of the operation is. That's what I want to see.
So the base is made back here. So this is our brew house portion of the distillery. If you want to come on back, come on back here. All the cooking is done right back here for the base. This is where the cook's done, and then we have the fermenters here. So everything's done in-house. That's what's very unique with Still Austin and how we actually do the rye base.
And this is you making, I always forget the terms, the mash, the beer.
This is making the mash, yeah.
And the mash is basically just the proto mush that the yeast is going to chew up and make ethanol out of.
Yep, that's correct. We're a very rye-driven distillery, so that's why we chose to do a rye base consisting of 70 rye and 30% corn. But that's where this is all done.
And so are these timed to all go at the same time, or they go in batches, one at a time?
These go in batches. So 2 tanks are filled and emptied daily.
Daily?
Daily.
Wait, so how long does it take to start the rocket science?
It takes about 6 hours to start it, and then 3 days to ferment, and then another 6 hours to distill it.
Got it.
So the mash gets started from the cooker, gets pumped into the fermenter. Fermenter's just the holding tank for it to actually ferment, make alcohol. Then from the fermenter, it goes into the beer well. And the beer well is just a holding vat, which is then getting pumped into the column, which you'll see over here.
Take me. Holy cow. Oh my God, it just goes up forever.
So this is a 42-foot continuous column still from 4 sides. There's many column stills in North America, but this is a 1-in-1 custom still designed specifically for us. It's very hot, probably like 220 degrees. So down here is our stripping section, where it's actually stripping the alcohol out of the mash. And then as you get higher up is our rectifying section. That's what's redistilling and purifying the alcohol.
But essentially this is a straight shot, starting with garbage at the bottom, and then it's pick your poison, so to speak, at the top as far as how much alcohol content you want.
Exactly, yeah.
Can we go up there?
Yeah, we could go up there.
Okay,
yeah.
I want to go up there. Oh my God. Is this common for it to be this tall of a stack?
For column stills, it is fairly common. There can be smaller. There's really no reason to go, in my opinion, much higher than 40 or 50 feet.
At that point, you're just distilling like actual rocket fuel or whatever.
Say if you're like making a vodka, you'll just get more rectifying sections. So everything with the black handles is your stripping section. Up there, where you see the stainless plates, that's your rectifying section.
Got it.
And you usually have 3 rectifying trays and a doubler, which is a redistillation process. This is an all-in-one. You have the stripping trays and you have the rectifying trays. It gives us the ability to distill at a higher proof. So that's where we come into play, where we can make our own rye gin base. And I could get this column all the way up to about 190 proof.
Yeah, what am I seeing over here?
So this is the spirit safe. The spirit safe is where the finished product is coming out of, and then it's getting dropped into that product receiving tank.
Got it. This is the real stuff.
This is the real stuff.
Everything else is sort of just running through the motions.
Yes.
And I see you have a specific gravity meter. I assume that that exists there to confirm that you have the right alcohol level?
Yeah, that's called a hydrometer. It's fairly accurate within like a couple proof points, but the hydrometer is based off of 60 degrees.
Right.
So if you're running any hotter, like right now, it's really 75 degrees. So this is reading that it's at 160, but it's probably right around like 145 proof.
Do you guys do, I've seen in smaller distilleries, they'll just have stuff dripping into a bucket, and every so often to figure out whether it's ethanol or methanol, they'll just put a finger in and taste it. Is that part of the operation?
Yeah, the spirit safe is where we're tasting it. We're trying it, but you have these grotameters here. This is the tails cut, this is the heads cut. So the hearts is the finished product, right?
That's the good stuff.
That's the good stuff.
Hearts equals tastes good, ethanol safe, good.
Correct. Tails, we don't take any tails off of the bourbon. We can take a slight tails cut off the gin just to get a little bit of those fusel oils out of the gin. You want the fusel oils in the bourbon for maturation purposes.
Is the tails just the difference between ethanol and methanol, or is it something else?
Yeah, no, methanol is the heads. And I'll show you when we get up there. We have a totally different condenser to pull off heads, which is the methanol and all that nasty stuff that you don't want.
Right.
So while we're tasting this,
neither tastes good, also is actively poison.
Exactly. So you're tasting this, right? And you have a base of what you want, and you're tasting it. Let's just say, for argument's sake, this is too hot.
That was one of the wildest things, is you just stuck your finger in there, and I had the thought, is that sanitary? And then I realized it's literal hand sanitizer at this point.
Pretty much.
Can I get it?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
Yeah, tell me what you think.
I'm surprised that there's more flavor to it than I would expect.
A lot of flavor.
Yeah.
So now let's say, for argument's sake, it is really spicy, or it's really hot, or you taste methanol. We have the ability right here off of our vent condenser, which pulls off those heads, to either increase or decrease. So if you wanted to, right here,
you literally just turn a lever.
You literally just turn a lever. But here you can pull a sample if you want to try it.
So this will be the nasty methanol.
Now don't taste it.
Yeah,
but you go like this, you smell it.
Oh, no. Yeah, this is definitely...
You smell how that's like, smells like nail polish remover?
Yeah.
That's all going down into that tank down there and not into our product.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to go all the way up.
Let's go up.
Yeah.
All right.
This is all just higher proof. It's not going to taste any better. It's not going to be any more useful.
So it's increasing in strength, but you're controlling it through the temperatures that are actually in the column. But there are all different flavors coming off of these trays. So lower trays, you're going to get a heavier product, more fusel oils off of it. Higher the trays, it's going to be sweeter. It's going to be lighter in flavor. We pull off tray 12. We really like how sweet it is. It's very approachable. Putting it in barrel for bourbon purposes, we feel like we're taking a lot of the impurities out in the distillation side, so it's helping the barrel, it's complementing the barrel. The reason why we do the 12th tray with the base is because we want the lightest, cleanest possible product.
Got it.
You know, you don't want to pull off the first tray when you're trying to make a base.
And I assume, essentially, are you capturing each of these individually, or it looks like they're in clusters, basically?
So we leave 1 and 2 open because we drain them daily in the morning.
Yep.
But we're actually not pulling off of them right now. We're only pulling off of tray 12. Everything else is shut.
After this, I assume that vent at the top is like, yeah, we're done here. Everything else is just water.
When you get all the way up there, that's still at its like peak. That's like at its highest proof. There's never really...
Is there a next level?
There is a next level. Yeah, we could climb the ladder.
I kind of want to climb the ladder.
All right, let's go. I can show you all the condensers and stuff.
Oh, wow. Okay, so what's happening up here?
Say you're in the beer well. The beer actually gets pumped all the way up, right? All the way up in here, and it has to get preheated.
So it starts up here?
Starts up here.
Oh.
So imagine you getting a cup of water and you put ice in it.
Yep.
The ice cracks when it's warm, right? Well, the still's really hot, and the mash is cold. You put it right in without it being preheated, there's potential that the still's gonna crack, right?
Right.
So if you touch this one right here, this is the mash going in.
Oh, and it actually says here, there's a label that says beer in.
Now you see how it's fairly cold?
Yep.
Now touch this one.
Got it. This is all just to get the beer ready for the real trial by fire that
dropping
is.
it into the still, which is
Wow, so it does. It comes in preheated and hot.
drops down right down there into the beginning of the stripping section on that top level.
Got it. And then the garbage falls down, the mash,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Meanwhile, the good alcohol and vapors are all going up.
Yeah, so as the mash falls down, right, you have your downcomer pipes inside the column, and it's rotating down the trays. In the stripping tray, there's just a perforated plate on every single level with holes, right? So the idea is that all the way down at the bottom, steam is getting injected in, bursting up, right? Percolating that mash up. The idea is for the mash never really to fall down.
Got it.
The mash is getting percolated up, so it's falling down, but the steam is pushing it up, and you're stripping the alcohol out of the mash, right? When you're down on that lower level and you're going up, it's increasing in strength.
Got it.
Then you're going into the rectifying section, which is here, and then you have those bubble caps in there. So
Sorry, a bubble cap is what?
bubble cap is just it's another form of stripping. So depending on the size of the bubble cap will give you different flavors, give you different proofs.
Got it,
right?
got it.
But what else is up here? Main condenser. This is just what is cooling the still.
Okay.
And this is what's also cooling that vent condenser. And the vent condenser is what's actually stripping the methanol out.
Got it.
Methanol gets stripped out at right around like 150 degrees. So we are controlling the main water with the vent to increase that temperature to make sure that we're getting that heads cut that you smell.
So at this point, everything we've seen so far, it's all the same distilling that goes both into gin and into the whiskey, right?
Yeah, it's just different mash bills and proof.
That was hot up there.
Yeah.
It's less hot down here.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna guess that in the summer it gets even hotter.
Yeah, down here it gets to about 120, up there 140.
Cool.
It feels like it's air conditioned down here, but it's really not.
I assume we pick, you said the hearts, right?
Yeah.
The good stuff. I saw a pipe coming off the side and it ends up here somewhere.
Yeah, so it goes into the product receiving tank, and that's just another holding tank, just like the beer well, essentially. But now for
at this
finished
point,
product.
we're still at that superposition. Maybe gin, maybe whiskey, maybe bourbon still?
Right,
or?
so say for argument's sake, if it's gin, right now, it will just get pumped into these barrel filling head totes, and it won't get proof. You'll just get the weight and the proof gallons. And proof gallons is just anything over 100 proof. And then we'll pump it into 55-gallon drums.
What is gin normally proofed at?
Gin base comes in at, usually grain neutral spirit comes in at 190 to 192
Oh,
proof.
wow. Okay.
The twist that we have is one, it's coming off of our own column. It's our own grain, Texas grown grains. And then we distill it at 182 to 185 proof. I'm trying to capture that rye whiskey characteristic. I'm not really one for a really juniper forward gin, like a London Dry.
Yeah.
So I've always said—
Pine needles.
Yeah, pine needles, right? And craft, you have to do something, I've always said, to separate yourself. I'm not trying to mimic somebody that has made a London Dry gin that's, proven and tested.
Right, if you're gonna do a Texas gin, you want it to taste a little Texas.
Do something totally different. That rye base really shines through and complements the botanicals that we put in.
So in that case, so long whiskey, we know you're imprisoned in barrels for a bit. Let's follow the gin track here.
All right, yeah, gin track, we're gonna come over here now.
All right, Kevin, talk me through what we're seeing now.
So this is like a redistillation essentially of our red gin base. We take all of our botanicals, we throw them into the pot still, and basically redistill it with the botanicals inside it.
So the pot still has the hearts,
Correct.
good stuff basically, and you're redistilling it only to infuse it with gin flavoring, I guess?
Botanicals, yep.
Botanicals. That's a good generic all-purpose word, but I don't know what that means. Like flowers or what?
So there's a mixture of botanicals. Typically with gin, your main ones are going to be juniper and coriander, coupled with a whole bunch of other stuff. We use 12 botanicals.
Is this almost kind of equivalent to what we're doing with the beer, where we're making like a high-proof mash, or?
You typically just macerate your botanicals in it. So you
Macerate means what? Just soak it in?
just steep it essentially.
Got it.
It's like a tea bag.
We're making gin tea, basically.
Gin tea, essentially.
And so then some amount of heat to redistill it. In there we have what proof alcohol?
Inside here you have 185 proof red gin base.
Right.
And then from there we add in our botanicals, and then we top that off with about 20 gallons of water.
Got it. So you're actually reducing the proof on there, and then you're redistilling it. What's it taking along with it?
Just the flavor profile of it.
Okay.
And at different temperatures throughout the run, it'll pull out different flavors. So at the very beginning of the run, it's going to pull out more of your citrus flavors coming through.
Okay.
And as you get towards the end, it's going to pull out more of your earthy, like elderflower and tarragon and your orris root and angelica root.
That's wild. I hadn't thought about the fact that in addition to the alcohol profile changing with the temperature, the different flavors would survive. So that's what this smaller version of the other column that we saw is?
So our pot still itself, we actually don't use this center column for it. It's what's called a hybrid still. So if we wanted to create a cleaner spirit, we could run the column, but we actually bypass it around directly into the condenser. Doing that, you get more of a juicy, flavorful, oily spirit out of it.
So I assume once you've got everything steeped in there, you've got the right flavor profile. There's no need to separate anything out. And that's what's coming out right here?
Yep, coming out right here. Falls into the copper basin right here. We try and use as much copper as possible. Copper is gonna take out more of the toxins from the alcohol itself and create a cleaner flavor.
This is the gin.
Yeah, you wanna try it?
Yes. You make a very compelling argument.
It's high proof, it's at 170 proof.
Oh my God, you just opened that and it was just like, it was gin.
Pop your finger in the bottom part and then.
That's great. I didn't realize how gin is really a shaped flavor completely after the distilling process. Would that be a right way to put it?
Yeah, I mean, every single gin is completely different because the botanical load is totally different.
And once you guys have established the flavor profile that you dig, do you ever tinker with it or this becomes written in stone, this is it?
It's pretty much written in stone. Through distillation batches, you do have a little bit of variability in your flavors.
I've been on enough tours to know there's a tasting room and I get to taste the final product. Although I just stuck my finger in it. Here we are, the most important part, the tasting. So I guess we're gonna, what, try it straight?
Yeah, let's try it neat, if you're okay with that.
Yeah, oh yeah, 100%. Okay. People ask why I like gin and it's like, because it never lets you forget that you're drinking.
We'll see kind of what you think about the naturalist now that you get a taster, but I always smell a little bit first with my mouth open. I get a little bit more of the notes with my mouth still open.
You get a lot less of that juniper. I don't know, maybe if it was just at that part of the batch, but when my finger came in, I was like, ooh, that's a lot of juniper.
It's a lot of citrus off the nose is what I get.
I get like a little bit of the tarragon or Mexican marigold, kind of a minty kind of.
Man, I'm just gonna have it on faith that those are real words. Yeah. It's not as strong on the juniper as what our finger taste was. I would definitely not mistake it for any other spirit than gin, but I see what you're saying now about that Texas twang on there, that little bit of rye. Yeah. It ends up feeling, would it be too weird to say a little bit more round than—
No, that's exactly it, yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, look at that,
Good job, good job.
Man, I am so fascinated that the experience of whiskey and gin, they're essentially like two brothers that just go to different finishing schools. And I never would have predicted that, but I can't thank you guys enough. What should we plug? Where should people experience more of the awesome Still Austin stuff?
You can follow us at stillaustin.com or on our social channels. If you're in Austin, come and visit us at the Distillery. We're open Tuesday through Sunday.
All right, is there a ritual thing to say? I know like when you're drinking whiskey, you say sriracha or something. What do we say?
Slane?
We say hells yeah, there you go. Hells yeah. Boom.
Brian, what happens when we die?
Well, they call it the blip, and you vanish for 5 years, and then suddenly you're just back, and they don't really explain all the confusing legal details, like how many life insurance policies got paid out during that time?
Oh man,
right?
I don't even know what life insurance on Spider-Man would be like, much less myself.
Okay, we're talking about life insurance. Specifically, life insurance is one of those weird things where there are policies out there, but in my opinion, the best ones you want to get are term life policies because all they do is they only pay out like if you meet an untimely demise. And when you think about, I don't know, your kids, when you think about your loved ones, when you think about your family, your extended business family, all of that stuff, you want to make sure that they're covered if, you know, you slip and crack your head open. Boy, there's no way to talk about this and not have it get dark. And that's why you get insurance, so you can sleep at night. Life insurance is definitely one of those things that you want to jump in while you're young and healthy, and so you can lock in a better rate.
Because it gets more expensive as you get older.
Yeah, it turns out, science fact, the older you get, the closer to dying you are.
What? That wasn't in the manual. If you go to ladderlife.com/rogue, it only takes minutes. There are no hidden fees, no cancellation fees, and you get the peace of mind of taking care of your family even after you're gone.
Heck yeah, dude, and plus for dollars a month, you'll be able to keep everyone that you love protected, and you get to sleep the sleep of the smug, the sweetest sleep of all. Ladderlife.com/rogue. Sleep, the sleep of the smug.
Sleep of the smug.
Offer and link in the description below.
Do you guys ever do like small batches of crazy variants? Or?
We don't have anything in the works for that, anything like that.
Not yet, but you could.
We could essentially do that if we wanted to.
So if we wanted to do a modern Rogue one that had like everything that Brian and Jason hate, the flavors in there, we could torture ourselves.